Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I will be covering 90 Day Fiance Happily Ever After season 3 episode 4 or season 4 episode 4. I don't quite remember. Once again, this episode was kind of boring. There really wasn't much going on. I feel like they're building up to a bigger episode, but like right now I feel like there's a lot of fillers and stuff of that nature, because I felt like nothing got accomplished with any of the couples. So with that being said, let's get into the couples. So let's start off with Nicole and Azin. There really wasn't much going on. It seems to me like they are going to Grenada in a couple of weeks, and it seems that Nicole's dad wants to meet Azin, which is understandable. Nicole keeps going on and on about how her family's unsupportive, which I'm like, do you not see why? Like, this man is using you for your money and having you spend so much time that you'll eventually find out that you're wasting on this dude that has no intentions of being with you. So I feel sorry for Nicole, but it's something that she's gonna have to discover on her own. She finally kind of tells her friend the truth as to why people don't like Azin, and I don't know if she's shocked that her friend agrees with her family, but you can't tell Nicole nothing. She's very happy and she's looking forward to Grenada, and I'm looking forward to seeing Azin and Nicole together in the flesh. Because this like video chat thing is fine, it's cool, but I want to see how they're going to interact in person once again. And Nicole still has every intentions on marrying Azin. Okay, so that's it for them. The next couple I'm going to talk about is Larissa and Colt. Once again, there really wasn't much with their story. They kind of got to talk through a lot of their problems. This is like, I feel like one of the first times I'm actually seeing them as a couple, and they look like genuinely happy, or I don't know. It's kind of weird to see because I'm used to seeing them fighting, and they're not fighting at this moment. So they have compromised on giving Larissa an allowance of $200 or $150 a month on like a prepaid credit card, and she was totally fine with that. She was asking for $1,000, which Larissa's a grown woman. Larissa's a mother. Larissa did not come from a rich background and upbringing where she would be spoiled. It seems like Larissa doesn't know the value of money and what money is, what it means, and stuff like this. She was so happy with $200, yet they went to some kind of Botox clinic and she got $475 worth of filler in her mouth. So, Larissa, make it make sense. How are you going to get $200 a month and spend $400 on these lip fillers? And then even when she was asking about other things and the lady was giving her different values, she still, I don't know, she still was like, it was going over her head that like they didn't have the money. And even when she says that like Colt had $10,000, or he said he had $10,000, that's really nothing. Rent needs to be paid, car insurance needs to be paid, bills need to be paid. That $10,000 can go easy. So I hope she didn't think $10,000 meant $100,000 or meant $1 million, but it only means $10,000. So it kind of annoys me how delusional she can be. And like, I can understand if she was like 20 years old, came from like a rich upbringing, but no, you're a grown woman that should know the value of money, and there should be no reason why you guys are fighting over this. So I was done with Larissa, but it's nice to see them getting along and not fighting for once. So that was a really good thing. Um, let's see. Oh, another boring couple with a storyline that was just kind of meh was Paula. I feel like I never say her name properly, and Russ. And this is the baby shower aftermath, and she is telling Russ that she does not feel comfortable around the family, and she really wants to kind of hash things out and see what is going on. Oklahoma is somewhere she does not plan on living ever again, and she wants to just be cordial with his family. His family is a little bit judgmental. You kind of can't chuck it up to like, oh, they don't know better and stuff, because it's research. Just like Paula should have researched, I don't know, living in the Midwest or something, they should have researched. And it's kind of hard liking people who are kind of talking bad about you and don't think you're right for their child, and thinks you're too flashy and thinks this and that about you. It's hard to be on their side, or it's hard to kind of not brush that under the rug, but it's hard to accept that they're trying to make it work and they're trying to like you now, especially because 5 years has passed. You should do that maybe within the first year. After 5 years, I'm in my own schedule, I'm in my own routine. You do you, and I do me. So she talks to the mom. I feel like they didn't solve anything or get anything across, because Paolo still does not want to move to Oklahoma. She's still not comfortable with his mom, and I feel like aside from the grandchild aspect, his family could care less if Paolo was in his life. So I feel like there was nothing accomplished there, and it was kind of a waste of time. Their segment was very boring, and they're building up to Russ telling her about the job opportunity in Oklahoma, which I could tell you now, she's not moving to Oklahoma, especially because she was there for years and was not happy. So it's hard to convince someone to go to a place where they are not happy. So yeah, that's kind of it with them. My battery's gonna die, so I just keep turning on and off my camera. So next we're gonna talk about Pedro and Chantal. So there really, again, nothing that happened. Pedro is now going to be going to the Dominican, and I understand where Pedro is coming from. Don't get me wrong. If I fight anybody, much less my wife's family, it's very hard for me to try to mend bridges. Especially if the family still doesn't like you, still talks shit about you, and things of that nature. So I understand from Pedro's perspective. Chantal is put in the middle, but she's leaning obviously more towards her family side. Pedro is alone and has nobody, like literally nobody in his corner. So that's why he gets super defensive and he's not willing to make this work, which I understand from his perspective, because if my wife is on my side, I don't have any other family with me and stuff like this. I have no support system, and you have this whole support system with you, and it's causing so many problems in our marriage. And what I don't think that Chantal shouldn't speak with her parents ever again and not interact with them, because like that's not going to solve the problem. But I do think that Chantal needs to stop pushing for them to mend their relationship, especially because their family's not willing to forgive, and Pedro's not really willing to forgive right now. So they need to be on better grounds before you bring them together. But that being said, I think Pedro was very, very cool to Chantal this episode. Chantal is still your wife, and you still love her and want to be with her. So I'm confused as to why you cannot tell her how long you're going to be. You already said you're going to go alone, and you basically don't want her to come. But as my husband, I should know how long you're leaving for, and I don't like that he's kind of like, it is what it is. When they were saying goodbye, he was so cold. Like, she said she's gonna miss him, and well, she loves him, and he was like, yeah, whatever, like, cool. Peck on the cheek, and he didn't even turn back and wave. He was just like, peace, and he was gone. I have to admit, when he got to the Dominican, he does seem 10 times more happier. I guess just being on his homeland and being with people who are in his corner and stuff have given him the energy to be the old Pedro that we've come to love. Because to be honest, he seems a bit depressed, just being in that situation, and then especially because they fight all the time. So it's not like he only has his wife and that's it, and then he tells her family to F off. Like, he's also fighting with his wife as well. So it's kind of a lose-lose situation for him. We find out that Pedro is paying his family's mortgage or rent and stuff like that. I guess it's cheap to live there, that he can be paying it and living his life in America. And you can tell, like, his family's there for him and stuff. So we'll see what happens with that. But I felt sorry for him because he's not happy, and he's done living, I don't know, this sad life. He wants to be the Pedro that he used to be. Okay, so we're done with that. Next, we're going to talk about Andre and Elizabeth. Andre's getting on my last nerve because he's not thinking. I don't understand, because they don't have money. Like, they really don't have money, and I feel like Andre doesn't understand that. Like, I don't know, for him, he is not registered that they have no money. And I don't understand, personally, for me, if I had no money, where am I moving to, where I would have to pay rent, first and last, security deposits, all that stuff, knowing I don't have a steady job, at least. Because you do see that he was working, but his work is very on and off type of thing. It's not consistent. So Elizabeth talks to her dad and tells him the situation, which me and him share the same thoughts of, like, what the hell, how are you moving out? You're paying no rent here, you're gonna move out somewhere for you to pay rent with money you don't have. So he's like, how are you gonna pay for all this shit? And I'm like, yeah, Elizabeth, how are you gonna pay for all this shit? Because Andre is totally just like, we're leaving, we're out. Well, she asked her dad for money, because they obviously don't have first and last and all this, because it could be thousands of dollars you need upfront before you move into your place. So her dad obviously gives her the money, and she lies to Andre about how she gets it, which Andre, like, I don't know how you wouldn't ask more questions about how someone pops up with thousands of dollars. And a bonus, like, oh, the bonus came in handy just now. Like, that money, those thousands of dollars could have went into your child and making sure your child's ready. You guys haven't bought anything, and I don't know how far along she is, but she's at least, the sex, I think 16 to 20 weeks, so she's between there. So she's almost at like a halfway mark at least. And you haven't bought anything and stuff. So they go to a secondhand store, which I never thought Elizabeth would do, just because of her upbringing. And then Andre's very picky about, oh, this looks this way, this looks that way. You go into like a Goodwill, like, what do you expect? And prior to them going to the store, Andre had an interview with a company to see if he can do get like more steady work. Well, because he's only had a month experience, we're looking for someone with 6 months, which everybody's always in the limbo of like, I want someone with a lot of experience, but I don't want to pay them a lot of money. But I want someone, it's just like, I don't know, it's really confusing in the job market because they want someone with 5 years of experience with like a bachelor's degree, and they want to pay them like minimum wage. Like, it's very frustrating. Anywho, so he goes there and he's talking to her and stuff, and Andre asks like one of the questions you should never ask on the person that's interviewing you. He gives her a scenario, which doesn't sound like he's very committed to the job. He tells her, so like if you gave me a job and I said I didn't want it, like what would happen? And I'm like, Andre, you're not getting hired. You're done. If I'm interviewing someone and they ask me a question like, so what happens if I work here for like 2 months and then leave right away? I'm not hiring them because it doesn't show that they're committed. He's right about the money business. He's not going to be making a lot of money, but he's going to be making something, and you take on this job while you look for other jobs. Like, you don't just kind of be sorry about that. So like I was saying before I got cut off, you have to look for other jobs while you keep the job you have. It's better to have some money rolling in versus nothing. He wants to be a Craigslist handyman now, but they have a baby on the way, and you can't expect for Elizabeth to be like, yeah, you know, that's cool, baby, and stuff like this. She's thinking very realistically, and Andre needs to think the same way, because he's now not liking the whole trucking school. He's not liking the industry. This is not what he signed up for. But like, tough luck. You have a baby now on the way. You have to make sacrifices, and unfortunately, this is a sacrifice that you're gonna have to make. So that's it with this couple. The next couple we have is Ashley and Jay. I'm done with this couple. They should not be together. They're not happy at all. And so Ashley decides that she's going to go on a girls' trip to New York, and to kind of get away from stuff. She says everything that Jay does bothers her and annoys her. He's trying to make it work, but she doesn't know. And she won't advance the visa process further along. So Jay essentially can't do anything because he can't work. So he just has to be home. And so she tells him she's going, and this is for her to get with her girls, you know, have fun, yes, yes. And then as soon as they go for drinks, she's like, Jay hasn't texted me. I'm like, I thought you were trying to get away from him, take a break from him. Everything he does annoys you, so like, why do you want him to text you? Anywho, then she proceeds to talk about Jay and the Tinder issue, which, we're on probably episode 4 now, and we're still talking about the Tinder issue. And the type of girl he was talking to is not someone who favors Ashley, so she's like, is he attracted to me, and blah blah blah. And I'm just like, okay, Ashley, like, we gotta get past this. You gotta like do something else. And then she proceeds to be like, so here guys, here's the girl. She's like, this is what the girl looks like, and here's her Tinder. And then oh, should we call her? Yeah, we should call her and figure out like, what did they really do? Okay guys, let's punch. I'm like, Ashley, like, you're not forgetting about him if you're doing all of this. But yeah, that's whatever. They should not be together. I am done with them. They hurt my head. I'm tired of their antics. And I don't know. Ashley, you don't want to be with him. You're done with him, and that's fine. Just leave him then. Let him go back. At this point, I swear he said in the episode, like, if you don't want to be with me, just let me go back to Jamaica. And if he's at that point, like, girl, just let him go. So I believe that's all the couples. I just want to make sure that I talked about all the couples because I had to, my battery keeps dying. But I did speak about everyone. So that concludes the end of my episode. End of the video of 90 Day Fiance. Happily Ever After Season 4, Episode 4. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.
I'm just a dumb cunt, fucking sick and tired of it. Maybe I could front love, maybe I could buy a zip, maybe I get fucked up. Next time I could save some. Why it's gotta be like this? Why it's gotta be that way? Put it inside. Feel so rise up, banging on that loud.